Hi everyone, and welcome back to Arguably Speaking.
I'm Kiera.
I'm Sarah.
And we have a very, very special episode for you today.
I cannot tell you how excited I am for this episode.
So we are going to skip the intro a little bit because we have a lot to get through. And we are going to play a special game of telephone. So if you've ever heard of the podcast Normal Gossip, they came up with this concept, or at least it's the first time I've seen this concept be done. And it's basically just like when you were a child and played telephone with your friends. You hear one word and you try to pass it on and on. But instead of a word, we're doing a whole story. So Sarah is going to react to the story as it goes, but at the very end is also going to retell her version of the story. So you're going to get multiple Sarah and Kiera's from different times and retelling different parts of the story. But we're trying to keep it as clear for you as possible.
Amazing. I'm really excited to hear the original story.
Yeah, so we're going to jump right into the original story and then we'll be back to react with it. But here is the first telling of the story and the first retelling. All right, hi everyone. So our first guest for telephone is Jake. Say hi, Jake.
Hello, this is Jake.
Jake is my partner, and I mentioned him vaguely in a bunch of different episodes and all the fun activities we get up to. But Jake gets to hear the story from the very beginning. So he's kind of already heard a little bit of it. That's why I'm having him as the first guest. So he'll have the primary information to then pass on to our next guests. So hopefully you're ready to hear all about my grandmother.
I'm super excited. Yeah, I think we've talked about it briefly before, but I'm kind of excited to hear the story.
I know. I feel like I might tell it slightly different, so I'm happy that I'm actually recording this section of it, of me telling it, and then we'll have it as like a placeholder. Like, this was the original story.
Yeah. And then I'll be retelling it to the next telephone speaker.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. So
that'll
for this
be
part,
interesting.
yeah.
I don't know if my storytelling skills will keep up the same, but it'll be interesting to see how people goes through.
It'll be funnier at the end when the end story is not like the beginning. So, anyways, to start off and set the scene, this story follows my grandmother. She's kind of the main character, Grandma Wanda. And we're going all the way back to her wedding in the 1950s to my grandpa, Charles. And how they wanted to do it. My grandma wanted kind of a smaller, simple wedding. One that was still in the church but didn't have this huge ceremony and things like that. However, my great-grandma, I called her Mama. Great-grandma Jessie, though, that was her name in official titles, was like, no, we're having a fancy wedding. And my grandmother was part of the Baptist church. My grandfather was part of the Lutheran church. And so they had this kind of mixed wedding in between the two churches because in their small town of Texas, that is, these churches were right next to one another. So it was pretty easy to have kind of a combined wedding. But this is where the story gets a little weird. The ceremony and everything goes fine, but they knew they had this big thing looming over their heads. They knew that they had a bunch of friends who wanted to quote, quote, kidnap them and make it so they couldn't go on their honeymoon. Now, they weren't going anywhere fancy. They, I think, were road tripping from Texas to Arkansas, and they were going to honeymoon there for the weekend, but for some reason their friends thought it was going to be really funny to basically make it impossible for them to go. So, in preparation for them to actually go on their honeymoon, my grandfather was like, wait, we actually have to make preparations to make everything right. And he hides their car in the next town over at his aunt's house. I don't remember the aunt's name, so let's call it Aunt Linda for now. And so he hides their car at Aunt Linda's house. And Aunt Linda is the MVP in this story. So they go and they have their wedding like normal. And they're like, look, all of these people are trying to kidnap us. We need Aunt Linda's help to help hide us after the ceremony. And they were going to hide in this secret room, this kid's room in one of the churches, and turn all the lights off and wait for people to go. But their friends decided, no, they're going to try to get out of this and try to go on their honeymoon. What we're going to do to make sure they can't do it is put cowbells around the neck of my grandfather so they could hear him when he was walking around. So for the entire last hour of the ceremony, he has these cowbells on, and it's in a bunch of the old wedding photos. That's how I actually found out about this story. I was back home in Colorado, and my grandmother was showing me pictures, and I was like, wait, what's this? And she was like, actually, there's a really funny story. So, back to the wedding. Grandfather has these on, and the wedding's about to end, and he's like, all right, Wanda, we gotta make our great escape now. So he clings to these cowbells and is trying to hold them and make them not rattling, and they're running to their hiding space to Aunt Linda. And they get in, and the friends are like, wait, there they go, they're running away, they're trying to get away from the kidnapping. And so they all are starting to run after my grandfather and grandmother, but they make it to the safe area, and they can hear the people coming in. They're flooding into this church basement, but all the lights are off and they can't find the light switches. So eventually they give up, and they wait there for hours. And then Aunt Linda comes down, the savior, and is like, knock, knock, knock. It's me. You can let me in. I'm here to take you to your car. So they let her in, and everything's fine. Aunt Linda goes and guides them to her car and is like, get down in the back seat so no one can see you. So they're laying fully down, still in the suit and tie and the wedding dress with the cowbells in the back seat of the car. And Aunt Linda drives them to the next town over where she lives, to where their car is, and everything is packed. And then they're able to go on their merry way to their honeymoon. Nobody caught them, and it went swimmingly, but it was so funny because they went to such great lengths for no apparent reason. I kept asking my grandma, why are they doing this? And she was like, I have no idea. They just seem to really want to make us not go on the honeymoon because they thought it was funny. But we prevailed. We were able to go for a weekend. We stayed in a really nice house, and then came back and went to work, and went and moved into our little apartment together. So that's the story. Do you think you remember it?
Parts of it for sure. I think I have most of it in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I was in my head, I was like, I think I would start here or start this different place. I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing. You can change it up a little bit for how you retell it. How you retell it is completely up to you. And how the process is going to go is once you record your section, I'll just play your section for the next person. Mm-hmm. And then we'll get their reaction and their retelling of the story. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you can start it wherever you want as long as it still has the bones of it. You got some locations, you got some names, you got some big plot points. So,
Wanda and Charlie?
Charles. But
it's close.
I'll give you that one. I won't give you any more hints.
Okay. Well, hello to the next guest speaker, and hello to everyone on Early Speaking. We're going to start in the sleeping rolling hills of Texas. This is where our story begins. So, we're going to begin with our two main characters. We have Wanda and Charles. Wanda, Kiera's grandma for reference, and Charles, the man to be married to. So, the story begins with they want to save a little bit of money, a little bit of time by doing an interesting honeymoon to Arkansas. This is the end goal destination after this wedding. You do the wedding in the hometown, Texas, then you bust out of there, have some fun in Arkansas. But, little known to them, their friends were not keen on letting them leave the town after the wedding. So, Charles's friends are keen on keeping them essentially locked up in the hometown after the wedding and preventing them from going on this honeymoon. So, they have a couple of strategies that they're trying to do here. Most of them is to keep track of Charles. That way he can't leave the wedding and the premises afterwards. So, I believe the main reasoning for this happening was something to do with religion to some degree. One of them is from a certain church of Christianity and another prefect for the other one. I don't really remember that part, but they're in beefing churches in some degree. And so I believe for some reason one church is trying to keep the people there for some reason. I don't really completely remember that part, but have fun with that little tidbit. But the wedding begins. They do their standard ceremony. They walk the aisle. Everything's beautiful. But apparently he's wearing a cowbell during the ceremony. So this cowbell is the friend's way of keeping them in check. He cannot run away to anywhere with this cowbell on without being heard. You know, if you had a cowbell on, I guess, a cow. I've never seen that before. But you get the deal. He can't get away. So there's photos in the wedding. He has a cowbell on. So that's regardless. So he can't really make that much noise. He has to be quiet. And so after the wedding, apparently to get away, what they did was hide in a dark room in a nearby church. And this dark room was normally run by the main hero in the story, Linda. And Linda keeps watch over this room and presumably the building, and is aware that they've gone into this hiding place. So Linda could technically rat them out, but this is not what happened. Linda comes in, knocks on the dark room where, assuming, they're doing no kissing or anything in there. She just goes in there and just tells them that I can save you guys. You guys can get to the car, and you guys can make it to Arkansas to, have a getaway and have all the cool stuff and fun stuff on the honeymoon. So Linda saves them by letting them get into the car. He's still wearing this cowbell, presumably, and hopefully still has it. I don't know how he ran out of the church, quietly, but, he did. He managed it. And they ended up in their honeymoon, and that's the end of the story. That's my take. That's my interpretation.
Wow. All right, so that was Jake's portion of this episode. You can definitely hear the differences between the original story and how it's changed. I think some were creative liberties, and I think some you actually forgot. So I'll be really interested to see how the story ends up.
Yeah, me too. I try my best. We got different storytelling techniques too, so I don't know.
It was good though. I really enjoyed hearing the story from your perspective. I hope you enjoyed being on your first and maybe last episode of Arguably Speaking. But thank you. Say goodbye
Thank you,
to
everyone.
all of the people
Thanks
that
for
are
listening.
listening. And on to the next.
Good luck.
Okay, so we just listened to the first telling of the story, the original, and also the first retelling, which is Jake's version. And whoa.
This is amazing. Jake really, he got some details.
He got the bones, for sure.
We have cowbell, we have people going on honeymoon. They need to escape for some reason. We lost the friends trying to play a practical joke.
Yeah. We kept the names.
True.
We lost, the dates. And where we really started derailing. I think was
we
the
lost
church.
the two churches situation.
And now they're warring. They're warring churches.
Yes, exactly. Rivalry instead of just the families.
Yeah, they're just
different
churches.
groups. Yeah. I also liked how the children's room changed from a basement children's play area to this is under Linda's purview.
This is Linda's room.
Aunt Linda manages this room, probably the building.
It's no longer Aunt Linda, it's just
Linda.
Linda just owns this room.
Yo, Linda, can we use that dark room you got after our wedding?
Which is wild. He also was wink, wink. And
no, that was really funny.
I know.
They were purely hiding from their friends, trying to have an innocent little getaway to their honeymoon. And Jake was like, "Oh,
yeah,
that's very funny."
But
Two
really,
people hiding in a dark room.
Hey, Grandma Wanda said no funny business. But no, I was it was really funny because I was like, wow, honestly, he did a fairly good job. And then you see
then you listen back and you're like, oh, wait.
You're like, wait, a lot of things change.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was surprised at how many bigger details changed, but we still got general places. So we got most names. We got most places, but we did lose the era. So it's not the 1950s anymore.
True.
Yeah. And we lost some of the fine details.
Right. Well, we lost the friends. But we kept the reason why the cowbell was there.
Exactly.
Yeah. To track. Okay, I'm excited to hear the next one.
We're going to hear the next guest. All right, hello everyone. So we are back at it. Now you've heard of the first iteration of the story, and I have my second guest here. Please welcome Joanna.
Woohoo! Thanks.
So Joanna has been one of the many nameless guests as well. I think as I mentioned earlier, we try to kind of not mention names unless they've already been on the podcast because they like to, we like to have permission to say your name and something that's going to be public.
It's very kind of you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but now since you've been on here, we can reference Joanna.
Amazing. I have a voice now.
You have a voice and a name.
A voice and a name, but not a face.
I was going to say you're still faceless
Yeah.
a little bit. So Joanna has heard Jake's iteration of the story, and now it is her job to retell it to the best of her abilities from what she remembers. So are you ready? Is there anything you want to say before you start?
I'm ready. Well, I just want to say that please remember this is a retelling of an already retold story. So please keep that in mind when you judge my storytelling abilities.
Basically, she's saying the inaccuracies are not her fault.
What? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. But no, let's get into it. I'm ready.
All right, let's go, Joanna.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
So from what I've heard, this is a story about a couple named Wanda and Charles. And Wanda and Charles are about to get married. And it's their wedding day. And where this takes place is in, quote unquote, the rolling hills of Texas. And that is verbatim what I heard. But the rolling hills of Texas, Wanda and Charles are having their wedding, and they're planning a honeymoon in the beautiful, illustrious land of Arkansas afterwards, which I personally wouldn't. But, Wanda and Charles, they have their own preferences, and fair to them. But Wanda and Charles are about to celebrate their wedding day. They're about to walk down the aisle to the altar and say their vows to each other, and then go on their honeymoon. But for whatever reason, their friends are opposed to letting them go on the honeymoon, and they don't want them to leave, and they want to make sure that they can keep their eyes on them at all times. And so their friends are keen on keeping them at the wedding and making sure that neither of them leaves. And so a couple of strategies that they have is to basically just keep their eyes on them at all time. But then a friend comes up with the ingenious idea to somehow make sure that somebody knows where Charles is at all times, and that is by putting a cowbell on him as if he is a cow or a dog or something like that, which is an interesting solution. And so Charles is burdened with this cowbell at his own wedding, which must be interesting for him as he's saying his vows to his loving wife. And so this cowbell kind of just, it's like a cat bell, but a cowbell. And it just, every time he walks, it jingles, and it alerts the friends as to where his whereabouts are so that he can't escape from the wedding. And so that's kind of how they keep their eyes on him the whole night, is that they just listen for this cowbell, and whenever it rings, they just make sure that somebody has their eyes on him at all times so that he can't go off and do whatever it is they think that Wanda and Charles will do in the night. And another part of the story is that supposedly the friends are opposed to them leaving because there's a Romeo and Juliet factor to this where they're from rivaling religious factions or opposing religious factions, and so there's these groups that don't want them to leave for religious reasons or something like that. So Charles says his vows. He's burdened with his cowbell still. His friends are keeping a watchful eye on him. And he's kind of just hanging out at his wedding, his reception, just with this cowbell around his neck. And he can't leave. But eventually, Wanda and Charles manage to sneak away, and they create a plan that they're going to go to this church, and they're going to hide out in this closet at this nearby church. It's a dark closet, it's just them two, so they run away from their wedding reception, and they go into this dark closet, and they hide. And while they're hiding there, they're kind of formulating how they're going to get out of this, when all of a sudden they hear a knock on the door, and they fear that they've been caught. But someone opens the door, her name is Linda, and they're just waiting to see what their fate is. Like, what is Linda gonna do? Because she was part of the friend group that was watching Charles at the wedding party. But Linda, the true homie that she is, decides that Wanda and Charles have had a hard day. Charles at his wedding has been wearing a cowbell. Again, a cowbell for hours. And so she cuts them a little slack, She decides that, they've been through enough today. They're newlyweds. They deserve to go on their honeymoon and be happy. And so Linda doesn't rat out her friends. Instead, Linda actually decides that she's going to help them escape. And so, supposedly, the way that the story goes is that Linda forms a truce with them, and she says, "Oh, I'll help you escape. Don't worry." And so she brings Charles and Wanda into her car. She manages to get them out of the dark closet somehow, unnoticed by everyone. And somehow the cowbell doesn't go off at this time. Again, because Charles is wearing a cowbell. And so she sneaks them off to her car, she gets them in, and then she drives them away, far, far away from the wedding party, where they're able to escape to Arkansas and live their happily ever after on their honeymoon. And that is what I heard.
And there you have it. That is the next iteration of Wanda and Charles's wonderful adventure to Arkansas.
To Arkansas.
How do you feel?
I feel like I did a pretty good job of retelling it. Who knows? I feel like I am missing details from the story, not because of me, but my predecessor.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. It's been a long time coming, but it's hard to sit down, for an hour and get Joanna and I to talk about one thing.
Oh, girl,
if we had a podcast, we would be, ridiculous.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to pay attention. There'd be too many topics covered.
But thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to keep the story going. I hope you had a little fun on the podcast.
Oh my God, I had the best time, and thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And we'll move it on to our next guest.
Wow.
Okay.
I think Joanna did a lot better than I thought. Maybe I'm just bad at listening to gossip, because I didn't think that Jake had talked about the friends wanting to prevent the honeymoon, but he must have, because Joanna mentioned it.
I think it actually came back in a little bit more detail. He had mentioned it, that they were kind of trying to prevent, but it wasn't as explicit as when I said it.
Yeah.
And then Joanna made it explicit again, a bigger point.
Her story, yeah, came around. Also, very funny. Linda, just a friend now.
Linda's a friend.
Linda, a homie.
A homie does not own the
building, right. Also, not a dark room in a basement, not a children's room, a closet.
This is the first time the closet appears.
Amazing.
And also, I think at the very beginning, we lose a little bit of detail for, how the cowbell is brought in.
Well, because he's wearing it through the ceremony.
Joanna's. So it's now happening, this
during
whole
vows.
time. Yeah.
It's very funny.
So, honestly, though, I do think this one was more similar than the first and the second, the original to the first retelling.
I think Joanna did a very good job. Good job. Good gossip.
Good
Gossip, girl. I think that was great. I do think it's very funny that everybody's like, ew, Arkansas.
Everyone's mentioning Arkansas. I've never been there.
Cool.
Again, I don't know what's up.
Hey, there you go.
So,
okay, I'm excited to hear the next one.
The next iteration. Hello, everyone, and we have guest number 3 on the podcast. Please welcome Athena.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Kiera. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so nervous.
I'm so happy you're here because I think that we are about to get an uptick in the energy for the storytelling. It's kind of like a gradual hill. We're just getting to the end.
Like the rolling hills of Texas.
Like the rolling hills of Texas. So Athena has just heard Joanna's iteration of the story.
Joanna, you did such a good job. I was really impressed.
And I told Athena that it is her time to take the floor and she can fill in the gaps as she sees necessary to get Wanda and Charles to the end of the altar, basically.
The stakes are so high in this one.
So, no. The stakes are still low. It is telephone. The details are meant to get a little
I meant
messed
for
up.
Wanda and Charles. I mean, they are just out here trying to celebrate their love. But
So, whenever you're ready, you can start with your story.
Okay, all right, folks. I did take notes because we're here for the facts. That's what we're here to do. Okay. Wanda and Charles are on what is arguably the most important day of a person's life, right? They are like at the altar getting married, surrounded by all of their closest friends and family. They're in love. Wanda's wearing a beautiful white dress. Charles is wearing a suit. They're at the church. They're walking down the aisle, and on either side of them, on either side of the aisle, are fucking traitors.
This is so good. We started so peaceful.
Traitors are infiltrating. Okay, no. Wanda and Charles met in the rolling hills of Texas. It's beautiful. It's serene where they live. But you know what? They want more serenity for their wedding. They are going to Arkansas. What is in Arkansas? I truly could not even make that up for you. I have no idea. So sorry. But Wanda and Charles know what they want in Arkansas, and that is their honeymoon. That's where they're going to spend their time together. That's where they're going to celebrate this great union. But their friends, these traitors that are in their midst, don't want that to happen. I don't know if they don't like Wanda. I don't know if they don't like Charles. I don't know if they don't like Arkansas. But
One of the two. One of the three.
But they've decided that they cannot let this happen. And so the friends are country people from Texas. They have access to cows and they have access to cowbells. And they decide that that is the best way to keep this honeymoon from happening. So they take a cowbell. It's loud. It's noisy. You cannot miss it from 100 miles away. And they strap that shit to Charles on his wedding day. I don't know about you, but that's not how I imagine my wedding day.
Same.
But that's what Charles got. That's what Charles and Wanda got. God bless them. It's not good. It's not looking good for the couple. But they will not be deterred.
Of course.
They will not be deterred. They will make it to their honeymoon. And so our friends go sneak back into the church during their reception. Everybody's drunk. Everybody's dancing. And somehow they manage to slip away while the music's playing. No one can hear that fucking cowbell. Can I curse? I'm
You can
so
curse as
sorry.
much as you
I've
want,
been doing it
don't
so
worry.
much. I didn't even
It
ask.
is totally fine.
They sneak away from the party to go back into the church. They hide in a closet and they're like, okay, we are just gonna wait it out in here. Wait for everybody to go home. Maybe nobody will notice. And then in the dark of the night, we can slip off and go to Arkansas. But they hear a knock on the closet door. Things are, again, not looking good for our friends. They're really nervous. They're like, oh my gosh, our plot is being foiled. But the door creaks open and it's one of the traitors. It's Linda. She's one of the people who put the cowbell on him. She's the one who found it. It's her
Not
cow.
Linda.
It's her cow. She looks at them and hiding in the corner and she's like, oh no. These poor people, she sees the error of her ways as they're hiding in the corner. She's like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe I put my friends in this position where they are hiding in a closet at their own wedding. She realizes that she's been such a shitty friend to them. And so she takes her cowbell back and she's like, you know what, I'm going to return this to my cow. And she sneaks them out the back door of the church and hides them behind the church. While everybody else goes about their way, she makes excuses to the party. She tells them she doesn't know where they are. And thanks to Linda, Wanda and Charles are able to escape into the dark of the night and make it to Arkansas.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy they made it to Arkansas.
I know, me too. I really don't know what the rest of their honeymoon's gonna be. I'm actually very curious about
Well, I will give you the behind the scenes. I'll show you the original story and I'll give you the behind the scenes.
I do you know what's in Arkansas?
I've never been to Arkansas.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But if it's a honeymoon destination, that sounds like the kind of place I'd want to go.
Well, maybe it was winter when they were getting married.
Is there snow?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they in the rolling hills of Texas.
In the rolling hills of Texas.
There's just so much elevation that it gets cold, and maybe Arkansas is warm.
Warmer.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That would make sense to
I
me.
don't know though.
Yeah,
but
or
I'm
maybe there's
happy.
like family or something. But anyway, like I'm here for them to be happy.
Are
in
you
their
rooting for
marriage.
them to stay together?
I am rooting for them to stay together. I love love. I love like
Yeah.
people who want to get married. I think that's awesome.
Well, and
And
he was willing to wear a cowbell the whole
That's
time.
true. That's like a real testament to the. And honestly, Wanda's like, if my partner showed up at our wedding having to wear a cowboy, I'd be like, actually, no, I don't want want this.
Actually, it's over.
Yeah, actually, if you can't like
No more.
It's not
sorry.
how I imagined my. But it really is a testament to how much they love each other. So I'm really happy that they made it out and.
Well, me too. This is a fantastic retelling. Thank you so much
Good
for
luck
being...
to the next person.
Thank you so much, Athena, for being on this episode. And we'll pass it to the next one. Thank
Got
you.
this. Thank you.
That was the best one yet. Wow. She really brought the energy and brought the zest for this gossip. And it just, oh my gosh, it was so good. I love that it changed from like centered on the married couple, like trying to escape their silly friends, to just like a character arc of growth for Linda.
Yeah.
Like,
And
Linda, the
traitor.
traitor. Yeah.
Traitor. This is very
Not
important.
Trading with a D, traitor.
This is the first thing. One, Linda is not an aunt anymore.
No.
Linda does not own the church. Linda is not a friend.
Linda is a traitor. A traitor who sees the error of her ways
And comes
grows and comes back and helps
And-
Linda and Charles. No, sorry. Charles
Wanda.
and Wanda. Yes.
And it's her cow.
Yes.
And the cowbell is
And
from
the cowbell's
her
from
cow.
a cow. That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. Also, I love that like it's the feud. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
the feud
I'm
between
in
the
love with it.
churches is kind of gone now.
Right.
We don't hear about that anymore.
We just have traitorous friends.
Yes, we just have traitorous friends, so that's the intrigue. And also, I feel like this is a small thing, but now it's a singular cowbell.
Yeah.
At the beginning, there were many cowbells.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing,
yeah.
amazing.
But it was definitely more juicy. Like
Yes.
I feel like it was like, okay, what's the
it was like
intrigue?
it was also like dramatic and cursing and like a lot of passion in there.
Totally.
We were worried for them. You
Yeah,
know?
but
what
they-
if Charles and Linda don't make it to the honeymoon?
Charles and Wanda.
Wanda, why am I bad at this?
It's okay.
Oops.
But now we're going on to the next retelling. All right, hello everyone. We have guest number 4. Say hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
You're about to hear a story that has been retold many different times. So basically, you're going to be retelling the story as best you can from memory, from what you heard from the last person. And as a side note, we are at a place where there are a lot of others in nearby rooms, so if there's background noise, apologies for that. But we are about to hear a new iteration of this wedding story.
Okay, so the story begins with a lovely couple named Wanda and Charles. They are getting married. Happiest day of their life. Very important day. Wanda's in a very nice white dress. There's no description of what the dress looks like. That got lost in translation from one person to the next. But Charles is in a suit, so pretty standard wedding attire. As they're walking down the aisle, it is noted that there are traitors on either side of the aisle, on both sides. I don't know what this means. Traitors could be traitors of goods, traitors, to their relationship. Who knows? But they meaning Charles and Wanda, they met in the rolling hills of Texas. But, they kind of want more than Texas. They want to go to Arkansas for their wedding, and then also go to Arkansas for their honeymoon. But anyways, they have no idea who doesn't or does like them at the wedding. I have no clue why they even invited these people. But these traitors, they don't want the wedding to go well, all right? So somehow, one way or another, Charles allows them to put cowbells on his suit. So he's walking down the aisle and cowbells are banging. That's awful. All I think about is the SNL skit of cowbells. He's banging a thing, more cowbell. Anyways, they're very determined to get married. Nothing's going to stop them from this. And as they're walking down the aisle, they have their little ceremony. and it's to me it would be a ruined wedding. But during the reception, is that the reception that they could like after?
Yeah, you
after
have a ceremony
Okay.
and then a reception.
Yeah, yeah. So Juan and Charles obviously not very happy, but they still just want to be satisfied with their marriage. They don't really care about the other people. So what they do is they sneak back into the chapel, escape from all the dancing, all the singing, all the food, and they hide in a closet. They stay there for as long as they possibly can to, hide away from all the people that obviously now in their eyes, they don't really approve of their relationship. They're just chilling there for as long as possible, waiting for everyone to leave. I guess no one notices that the bride and groom are gone from the entire wedding. That makes absolutely no sense to me, but this is just what the story, from what I heard from Athena. Anyways, long story short, after some time in the closet, they hear a knock on the door, and door swings open, and lo and behold, it's Linda, apparently one of the traitors. I don't know why they would know that she was a traitor or not, but I guess Linda, seeing the lovely couple in the closet, she realizes that, wow, she's been a really shitty person. And I agree. Who the
You can cuss.
Who the fuck does that during someone else's wedding? You know what I mean? Like, just be a decent person.
It's rough. The cowbells are rough.
Yeah, cowbells are awful. But Linda, more or less, she's like, oh my god, I've been such a shitty person. How can I help this lovely couple achieve happiness? And Linda distracts everyone at the wedding. I don't know what she does. She could be just going out to do like the moonwalk, Michael Jackson style dance, all Thriller, but she distracts the guests long enough for Linda and Charles to make their grand escape to Arkansas. Whatever's in Arkansas, I don't know. Never been there. Doesn't really seem like a place I would want to go to. But then Linda and Charles live happily ever after.
Amazing. So how do you feel? Now that you've retold the story, how do you feel?
There's definitely some details that got lost between people. I don't understand the traitors. I feel like they might be like what could it possibly have been other than
I will
traitors?
show you the original story now that you said it.
Okay.
But do you feel solid about your retelling?
Yeah, I mean, as solid as I could possibly be. It's a game of telephone, so like everything is just determined by what I can possibly remember.
Yeah. Well, hey, no, you did great, and I appreciate you being on. I appreciate you doing your best, especially being the fourth person on. It's gone through many, many iterations. So great job. Thanks for being on the podcast, Michael.
Yeah, thank you, Kiera.
And on to the next guest. Okay, so you just heard the next one. What do you think?
The rolling hills of Texas have made it through.
They made it through so many
It's
iterations.
amazing. It's amazing because, did you see the Rolling Hills of Texas?
No.
No. Jake was like, tidbit, Rolling Hills.
Are there rolling hills in Texas?
Hard to say. I haven't seen any.
It's a big state, so probably.
So true. Also, we're continually just like shitting on Arkansas.
Arkansas sucks.
Why would we go there?
This is just
There's no reason.
how everyone feels.
There's no reason.
Additionally, this is the first time that traders for traitors and traders was like, wait, what?
Which
did they
one's
say?
which?
Which
Yeah.
one's which?
I
But
think
he still got
Athena
it.
is Athena from Colorado, or
No.
the Central.
She's from the Bay Area.
confusing.
Or San Diego, somewhere in California.
Okay. Because the D and the T.
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually that kind of gets messed up.
Yeah. There you go.
So, but now all of the friends are evil. Like,
Right.
everyone at the wedding
Everyone
is
at the wedding
against-
is against the marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not just lightheartedly trying to prevent a honeymoon.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't like this union, but
This is
still
bad.
attending the wedding.
And now Linda
Intrigue.
is helping them and then distracting the rest of the wedding party.
Yes, with dancing.
With dance.
I loved that tidbit. That was
the
great.
moonwalk, maybe?
The moonwalk, maybe? What is Linda really doing? That's
Linda's,
awesome.
still in the story.
Yeah, Linda
so-
is still in the story. And the names, to be fair, the names have been very consistent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So consistent.
I'm excited. Let's do the next one. I'm ready.
We're ready. Right into the next one. All right. Hi, everyone. Here we have guest number 5, all the way from Italy, calling in. Please welcome Ellie. Hello.
Hello.
So if the audio quality is a little bit different, it's because she's calling in and we're doing this over Zoom. But I really wanted Ellie to be on the podcast. She is yet another one of the many unnamed people I've talked about throughout the podcast, and it
Wait,
wouldn't be
what?
complete. Well, at the beginning of all of the podcasts, Sarah and I do like a catch up of what we've done over the week, and like I'm just like me and a friend, and like oftentimes it's you.
Let's go.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be complete to have this episode without Ellie on it. And she's listened through the recording because I sent it to her and is ready to retell this story. I have a feeling it's going to only get richer from here.
I have already forgot many a detail.
That's great.
I'm ready. I'm
It's
locked in.
perfect. Okay. Whenever you're ready, you can start the story.
Okay. The story is a wedding. And the wedding has traitors. And Michael was unsure of what kind of traitor for some reason. Perhaps it is a merchant of some sort, according to Michael. And Wanda and Carlos or Charlie, something with a C, they're getting
Carlos or
married.
Charlie? Great.
And they're both wearing traditional wedding attire, a wedding dress and a suit, and they're getting married in beautiful scenic Texas. No, they live in no.
He's trying to look at my facial expression.
They're moving to Texas. No. Shit. They live in Texas, but they're getting married in Arkansas. Yes, Arkansas, because I don't know why they would do that. Probably family. And they are also moving to Arkansas. Okay. And no, okay, they're getting married in Texas because there's a cowbell and it was ridiculous. Okay, they're getting married in Texas and they're moving to Arkansas. And they have traders at the wedding. And they don't know much of the guests at this wedding for some reason. And they get married with a cowbell. The groom, he's wearing a cowbell on the suit. That part seems unlikely. I feel like that part is something lost in translation, because why?
What was with the cowbell?
It was a prank. No. It was because they were in Texas. And it was also a prank. Okay, maybe I'm piecing this together now. I'm gonna guess what happened. The cowbell was to upset the groom and bride because everyone there was a traitor or something. There were traitors hidden amongst the crowd. So they did it to disrupt the wedding, and then the couple got upset. And then they go to the reception and they're upset. They're like, we want to be alone. We don't want to be with all these people. So they go into the closet, and then some lady comes, and her name is
What's her name, Ellie? What is her name?
something with an L, I think. No, I think I'm definitely way off. I'm gonna
Just
call
like-
her Lauren. Lauren comes, or Sarah. No, it's not Sarah.
Not Sarah. I'll give you that. It's not Sarah.
I'm going to rename her. Her name is Shelly. Shelly comes in and she was a traitor, and she had a change of heart for some reason, except for not enough to not snoop. So she comes in and she's like, "Sorry guys, I was being a bummer earlier, and I'm
Why
gonna
was
help."
she a bummer?
Oh, that part I don't even know. That was really lost to me. She was a bummer, and she was a traitor. That's all I know. She was a traitor. Except for, how can you be a traitor if you end up helping in the end? I don't know. She was a temporary traitor, and she was like, "I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna help you chill in this closet." And I'm guessing Shelly is the one who put that on there. She's feeling very convicted, probably because she was in a church setting. And she went into the closet and she was like, sorry that I put the cowbell on there. I'll go distract them so you guys can grieve about your fucked up reception. Ceremony. And so she goes back to the wedding and she does like a dance or something. I swear. This part really got lost to me.
Yeah, I don't even know what story you heard at this point.
It's early. She does a dance to distract everyone. And then the couple lives happily ever after in this closet. And that's it. That's all I remember.
It is by far the most unique. And I don't think I've ever heard you sound more Southern than you do right now.
Really?
Your Southern accent is really coming out. Yeah.
How?
I don't know. It just is. Like maybe when you started saying all the state names like Texas and Arkansas, it
Thinking
was
about the
really
Southerners.
yeah, you are. But you did a great job and I appreciate you being on this episode. You will hear the whole thing. Trust me, I will bring you up to date on the real story, and you can also hear everybody else's iteration when this episode comes out.
Thank you. No one will trust any of my stories from here on out in the friend group. So
It's
this was the
it might
nail in
be
the
true.
coffin for my legitimacy.
Well, thank you, Ellie, and on to our next guest.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so this is where it really took a turn. Ellie was like, it was early in the morning.
Oh.
It wasn't that early. I think it was 8 a.m. her time. And so she was also like, I've only listened to it once, and I didn't listen that carefully.
It's Arkansas lost. Like, it was in the beginning. But they never go to Arkansas. They live the rest of their lives in the closet.
That and also Texas. No.
Texas,
Arkansas. No.
They get married in
No.
Texas. They go to Arkansas.
They're moving.
Wait.
Probably family.
Traders.
And also traders.
If you start as a trader, but then you help them, wait, no.
Are you still a trader? And she also was like merchant of some sort.
So funny.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Linda became Lauren, became Shelly.
So now Linda is Shelly.
Oh,
And
that's funny.
we had we described the basic wedding dress and tux collab. We did that.
But
It's
with
now-
cowbell.
But with cowbell. We are in scenic Texas, not the
Yes,
rolling hills
right,
of Texas anymore.
Well, and the cowbell has no purpose and is not attached to the traders.
Yeah, and it's just like, why does he have cowbells on his suit?
Right.
Seems weird.
Yeah.
But okay.
But whatever.
Yeah.
And then
Moving
everyone
on.
at the wedding hates them still.
Yeah.
And
Everyone hates them at the wedding. Now they don't. Now they're not even against the union. They just don't like these people.
oh, good times. Okay, I'm ready for the next one. Let's hit it. Is the next one the last?
So the next one is the one that you've heard, and then it's
Perfect.
your retelling.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
yeah, we're gonna listen to that, and then we'll do a final recap, and we'll be done.
Amazing.
All right, hello again. We are with our final and arguably best guest. We have Liz.
Hello.
Hello, Liz. One, Liz is amazing, of course, and two, Liz also has to pick up the pieces from the last guest, Ellie. Thank you so much for your contributions. You are doing a great service to this podcast, and we are so
I do it.
excited to hear.
Do it for the people.
She's amazing. We're also filming this one over Zoom, so if audio quality has changed, different guests, different places. So
Yeah.
this is how it's gonna be. But Liz, how do you feel? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
You're gonna do great. I have so much confidence in you, and there's no way that the story can change more than it just did.
That's true. That's true.
So, without further ado, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, I did not take notes, and we're just gonna go for it and try and piecemeal Ellie's story. So, from what I gather, there is a couple, maybe from Texas, maybe from Arkansas, and they are moving to Arkansas and getting married there. And there's a wedding. Their names both are starting with a C. One's maybe Charlie. Um, and there are traitors at the wedding, but they try and escape the traitors for a second and they go to a closet. Oh, and the groom is wearing a cowbell. Not sure if that's like a prank from all the traitors at the wedding or if the groom wants to have the cowbell because it's a Southern wedding in Texas. But they're
Because
also
you
in
know,
Arkansas,
never
so
more cowbell.
more cowbell. Um, and so they're in the closet and they happen upon this person named, well, renamed Shelley, by Ellie. And and Shelley is also a traitor, but is also nosy and is trying to help. Um, and then goes back to the wedding. Oh no, I forgot this part. Something they go back to the wedding and ring the cowbell again. Um, and they live happily ever after. And that's all that I remember from Ellie's wonderful story of this interesting traitor-filled wedding and cowbells in the South.
You know, I will say at the end of all of this, we still had some major plot points make it to the end.
Okay, okay. I can't
I
wait to hear
will,
the first story.
Liz, you're gonna be baffled by this story when it's all put together.
Oh, I
But
cannot wait.
wow. You at least had a linear thought. We got through a wedding somehow.
We did somehow got through a wedding.
We had a couple named characters. Were they named correctly or incorrectly? The world the world does know, but
The
they'll be
world does know.
reminded soon.
I do not know.
But yes, that is all I have for you this evening. Thank you so
Okay.
much for being on this little segment.
Yeah,
You
you're
did a
welcome.
wonderful, fantastic job. And we will move it on to the final section where Sarah gets to react to all of these segments and see it from beginning to end.
Wow.
Wow again.
Yeah, listening, because I listened to this at the beginning of our day.
Yes.
Not for you, dear podcast listener. But when I recorded the
next
the
segment.
next segment that you will hear, I had just listened to this as the same
first
as
time.
you did. And there was a lot that I did not remember, but I do yeah, that was crazy.
Things got lost in translation like very quickly.
The traders, the cowbell.
Yeah. So first of all, we lost Wanda, I think, during Ellie's retelling.
Yeah.
And now like Bride is completely nameless.
Right.
Charlie, but both of their names probably start with a C.
Right.
From Liz's retelling.
Very unsure.
But like probably, maybe.
Yeah, right. And the sneaking away to the closet isn't to hide from anyone. They just go.
They just go. And there is mention of these cowbells like maybe being a prank or something from the traitors.
Yeah.
But she's like, I don't really know.
Yeah.
But cowbell seems weird,
Right.
so whatever.
Texas. Hey.
Texas. And then when they've snuck away, they meet Shelley. They meet Shelley. And
Shelley goes and maybe does a dance?
No, Shelley's not doing a dance anymore.
Shelley doesn't do a dance.
The distraction is now ringing the cowbell.
Oh, amazing.
So they like ring the cowbell
Even better.
And have distracted everyone.
Wow.
And then that's the story.
Amazing. It's drifted. It's drifted far.
It's drifted so far away from the beginning.
And Linda would never be Shelley.
They're so far away. And it's like the unsureness is very clear.
Yes.
Like we've gone past the point of like, oh, I'm enhancing things for plot or like changing things around because I forgot it and mending things. It's like now people are very clearly unsure of what's happening and apparent in their
You
storytelling.
didn't hear this from me, so don't
Like,
think that any of it is super accurate.
Take it with a
part
grain of
gossip.
salt.
Yeah, exactly.
But like this thing still kind of probably happened.
yeah, that's so funny.
Okay,
Wow.
so we're gonna listen to your story. This is going to feed into future Sarah. So this is a different Sarah and a different Kiera that are going to be talking in this next segment, and then we'll finish off with present Kiera and Sarah.
Amazing.
Hopefully this makes sense to you, dear listener. But Sarah's about to give her retelling of this story.
Amazing.
We are back, and we finally have Sarah back on the podcast.
I'm here. I know you miss me.
All right, and Sarah, well, of course we missed you, obviously. We're so used to having you for a whole hour. But Sarah just listened to Liz's story.
Yeah, story. Maybe Liz's like commentary on a small happening. I don't know. Yeah.
So this is Sarah from the future. The Sarah that you heard before was just like listening to things for the first time. This is Sarah's retelling of the story before you get the final reaction of how the story has evolved the entire time. So we're just going to let you take the floor and retell the story as best you can from what Liz says. Fill in the gaps as you can and just go for it.
Okay, so we have a couple who is in Arkansas, and they might be from Texas. I believe that's probably what it is. I'm gonna add what I think was missing. They're at a wedding, and the groom of the wedding is wearing a cowbell. I'm assuming that the cowbell is used to make the bride and groom kiss. That's my opinion. Okay, so apparently there are traders at the wedding, trading things, items. I don't know what a trader is, to be fair. I'm a little confused about that. But whatever they are, they're at the wedding, which is pretty cool. And people are trying to avoid them. I think a person named Shelly is trying to avoid the traders, or Shelly is a trader herself. I'm not sure. But anyways, so because we're avoiding them, I'm assuming that they're maybe in some sort of multimedia level. What are the MLMs? What's that? Multi-level marketing scheme?
Okay.
Who's to say? Maybe they're trading multi-level marketing scheme products. And so Shelly's hiding from these people who are trying to sell her knives from Facebook or beauty products, and is in a closet, and someone else is in the closet.
Who?
A trader.
Okay.
Maybe with a knife.
Okay.
Just kidding. I don't know. And then Shelly leaves the closet, and the cowbell rings, and the bride and groom kiss.
And the end.
That's the tea.
And the next time you hear Sarah and me, it will be after Sarah's heard the rest of the story. So we will be right back.
I cannot. I don't know. I like hearing me talk about it now. I sound so ridiculous.
You just made up so many things. You simply were like, there's a cowbell. It probably makes them kiss.
I was so sure it was to make them kiss.
The cowbell is no
I get it,
longer
like every time you ring it,
Yeah,
they kiss.
yeah.
attached to Cade. You're not in that episode. Shut up.
I didn't realize you were actually talking.
Okay, wait. We're gonna record.
No, we should keep it in. It was pure.
Okay, fine.
Surprise guest appearance from Kate.
Surprise guest appearance. All of the guests that you heard in Sarah's or that you will hear in Sarah's upcoming episode are listening to my part of the episode right now, because Sarah, spoiler alert, did the same thing.
Yep.
So, essentially, we have no names except for Shelly.
No names except for Shelly. I didn't even realize that the couple that was the main part of the story was the bride and groom.
Yeah.
Like that lost
They're
on me.
traders. It's cool that they're there because they're trading goods.
I was really positive about this.
Maybe they're part of a mid-level marketing scheme now. And
oh my gosh.
Shelly is in the closet.
Maybe with a knife.
I don't know
This
why
is
she's in the closet, but
so
then
funny.
she just decides to leave the closet.
And then the cowbell rings.
And the couple kisses.
Yay!
The end. Also, we're in Arkansas now. But there's a
Yeah.
mention of Texas, but we're definitely in Arkansas.
I knew that Texas was said, but I was a little confused. I famously don't tell me any gossip. I'm gonna twist it. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
So,
Man.
yeah, that was the whole episode. How did you enjoy it? How did you like listening to all of the pieces told back to back to back?
That was amazing. I want to have everyone record when they gossip now so that I can just hear how it changes from person to person.
It would be a great communications study.
Oh, so true. Yeah, that's so true. I would love to look at how friends change their stories. There's actually a lot of stuff with narrative storytelling, which could be interesting. Anyways, I'm really excited for you to listen to my gossip storytelling telephone episode because this was so fun for me.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to see the crazy ways that the story changes / loses detail.
Yeah. Well, because we definitely told different types of stories.
Yeah.
And had different guests.
Yes.
So the guests and the way that they were able to record was different.
Yeah.
I also gave some of my guests a little bit of a preemptive, like, hey, try to get it to, a couple of them was like, try to get it to this number of minutes.
Right. Spice it up a little
Exactly.
bit.
Or
Yeah.
I would give them preemptive of like, fill in the gaps that you didn't get to the best of your abilities.
Hey, I tried to fill in some gaps as hard as I could and did not do any of it right.
You filled in a shocking amount of gaps.
I filled in a lot of gaps incorrectly.
No, it was fine. I also just really liked listening to it again and again. Like, I feel like I could continue listening to the story and see how it morphs. Unfortunately, I think it's at a point where it's got too little detail
I
to
agree.
be retold too many times because it's lost, like, any of the dimension to it. And
Yeah.
it's been, like, flattened to be efficient to tell now.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that is probably gonna do it for this episode. We are posting episodes every Wednesday for the next couple of weeks until you hear our final episode. Sarah, our dear Sarah, is moving away to Texas.
Hey, not Arkansas, okay?
Not
Get off
Arkansas,
my back.
to do grad school, and we're very proud, but we're also very sad because it does mean the end of weekly episodes.
True.
So you gotta get on it now.
Exactly. And be sure to follow our Instagram. It will remain up. And if we have a reunion episode, special event episode, anything like that, we will post about it there. So if you've enjoyed listening to us week to week, you can find us on social medias, give us that little follow, and make sure that you're up to date with us as we continue forward.
Yeah, rate us 5 stars on Spotify and give us likes and subscribe on YouTube and all of the fun things. But we really hope you enjoyed this episode. We really enjoyed filming it. And we will talk to you next time on Arguably Speaking. Bye!